franchise is like a marriage. You want to find the right partners.
Yeah.
If you don't find the right partners, you're always non-trusting, always second guess, always quarrel. Your marriage is going to be very miserable.
I think the world is changing. Second generations are getting more learned. That has accumulated over the years. That a lot of people are trying to get on with franchising or licensing in order to find their path on where they could grow in the future. So these are definitely roads to tap on.
Welcome back to the TFC Business Show. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And today we're on the third panel, right? Finally talk a little bit more about licensing because it's this whole new big category that I think for a lot of businesses you're thinking about. But probably people think of licensing a bit more basic, right? License a brand on your water bottle, all those kind of stuff. But there's so much more to it, right?
So I'm Judson, Head of Marketing for Block 71. And for this session, I think I'm a student coconut. Because I think there'll be a lot of student coconuts tuning in because I have no clue what is the difference between licensing and franchising.
Yeah.
So today to me, this is like a classroom learning from two masters.
Yeah. But in Block 71, are there businesses that are trying to build towards something like a licensing model?
No, because all of them are startups. They all start with their own original ideas.
Okay.
If anything, if they are successful 20 years later or 10 years later, they are the ones who want to franchise out or their stuff.
Okay.
Very different.
Great. So if you are tuning in, we got a lot of questions for the CFO. You want to introduce yourself for our audience?
Sure. Hi, my name is Dickson Low. I'm the president of Franchise and Licensing Association of Singapore.
What does it take to become a president of Franchising and Licensing Association?
Well, it is just because I'm also in part of the franchising business that I get to learn from a lot of good people, including my Sifu from Asia Wide Franchise, Mr. Albert Kong. He's the first person who taught me how franchise is all about. And over the years, I've learned a great deal, and I have brands, started my own brands, and then we were in franchise to about 15 countries.
Wow.
So that got me interested, and it started the journey of knowing more about franchise, getting to know more about it, and got the interest to see how to help others to actually do the same thing. That's the journey.
Nice. So can you share a little bit, what is that franchise that you created for 15 countries?
Some years ago, we started the Manhattan Fish Market in Malaysia. We founded that, and at the same time, not only founding the brand itself, we also took in a lot of good brands like Tony Roma's, Popeyes, and at the meantime, our company still runs brands like A&W, Subways, and we have created our own brand called The Barns.
The Barns.
Also has the ice cream brand franchise like Gelare. So these are some of the brands that we worked with.
Subway in Singapore.
Subway in Malaysia.
Or in Malaysia.
Yes.
Wow. That is all the brands that we know, like Gelare, Manhattan. It's what we grew up with.
You know what is so attractive about Subway to me or not?
Yes.
It's not the sandwiches, it's the cookies.
Oh, okay.
Because seasonally speaking, the cookies always come. There are some seasonal flavors for cookies. So I know you don't do Singapore, but maybe if you are in contact with the people over in Singapore, can ask them to come up with more seasonal flavors.
Is most of your business just in Malaysia?
I started in Malaysia,
Okay,
yes. So
okay.
most of it are still in Malaysia.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. And yourself, would you like to introduce?
Hi, my name is Danny Lee. I'm the APAC CEO for Gong Cha Global. I'm also the global supply chain. So my history is go way back to early 1990s. So the fortunate thing I have is that I've been on the franchisor side, I've been on the franchisee side, and I've also been an entrepreneur side. So it covers both areas, both aspects. So it gives me that experience of how you become a franchisor, how you stand on the other side of the fence as well. The early days were mostly the US brands. And then the last 20 years has been running the APAC region, from Pacific and Hawaii, Guam, China, the whole of Southeast Asia, all the way down to Australia and New Zealand. So my role for the last 20 years has been supporting our franchise partners to grow their brand and also helping our brand to grow internationally.
Okay, fair. So just for clarity's sake for our audience, right? Because Gong Cha also has been around for a long time,
Yeah.
right? So you took over the reign when they re-entered the market in Singapore. Is that when were you part of it?
Actually, I joined Gong Cha about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, it's Gong Cha, not Gong Cha, huh?
Yeah,
It's
Gong
not
Cha.
Gong Gong, huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Gong, 进贡的贡. Okay. Anyway, yes.
And also not Gong Cha, like the way Indians say. So I joined the company about close to 3 years. Prior to joining the company, Gong Cha in Singapore was already re-entry to a second franchisor. Throughout the period of about 18 years, Gong Cha was also acquired a couple of times. First, it was acquired by Korean equity, and then most lately it's been acquired by the US PE firm. So now the brand now is actually moved to the UK now. So Gong Cha is now actually a UK brand.
Oh.
Wait, the origin was Taiwanese, is it?
Original was Taiwan, started in 2006, and then now up to today. Yeah, we are about 28 countries now, and we're still growing.
Interesting. On that note, so you are managing Gong Cha in APAC.
Correct. I manage the APAC business, but at the same time, I also run the global supply chain because we don't have an APAC office in Singapore, so it's still in Taiwan, our same office. And most of our product actually come out from Taiwan. That's why I manage the office.
Fair. Yeah. So I wanted to ask because when Gong Cha first came out,
Yeah.
20 years ago, let's just say 20, front runner,
Yes.
no competitor.
Correct.
But now you are leading it, so many years later when the market is so competitive. Every other day got a new brand, right? Like, how are you kind of like running this brand? How are you kind of making sure it works? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. I think, first of all, let me take this opportunity to do a big shout out to all our franchise partners across the world. And of course, all our fans around the globe,
Me included.
including Justin. Very fortunate that our brand, up to today, after 18 years, we are still very well loved by our customers around the world. And the way we kind of maintain our business up to today, well, like you say, fortunately, we came in actually on the second wave. The first wave, you have a lot of
Sweet
smaller
talk,
brands.
that one, right? Yeah,
Sweet
small,
Talk,
yeah,
quite quickly. Remember all this?
Cut Walker, that time, the era.
Yeah. So at that time, the barrier to entry was very low. Anybody can just open one.
Yeah.
And then went into a kind of a price war. Price become cheaper from $2 to $1 to 90 cents, 85 cents, or one buy one free. So I think the smaller guys start to kind of fade out, and then eventually the whole business, the whole category basically pack and go. So Gong Cha, the founder, Super Wu, he decided to spend actually about 10 years, started in 1996. He started to perfect, the tea itself, and also created and invented the milk foam. That's what we are known to be. So that's where actually when we came back on the second time, we are the category leader basically. And that's where it kind of create this growth, and it just basically exploded in Asia about 10, 12 years ago.
Then now that you're helming it, it's a different market, right? Yeah.
Now I think you got to remember that over the last 10 years, for example, right, a lot of things has changed.
Yeah.
We are no longer the same old, one brand that everybody likes, right? Now, like you said, a lot of competition.
Yeah.
On top of that, you have all the global problems, right? You have war, you have all the inflations, and you have COVID. So I think franchise itself today is not just about the brand, how strong is the brand. There's definitely other factors that build a good franchise brands, such as your supply chain network. How do you re-strategize your network instead of everything come out from one country? We used to have everything coming out from Taiwan, but then we realized that we can't do that because of tariff, for example. Coming out from Taiwan to Japan, pay 17% tariff, but coming out from another country, you pay 0. So these are the things that we had to look at. Then at the same time, we had to continue to try and deals with all the suppliers, sourcing out of China, out of Vietnam, out of Malaysia. Where is the best place that we can source? Because inflation is going up. Where the raw materials is. So things like this. Then you have technology, for example. How do we speed up, making tea? How do we improve labor, for example? How can you remember like 200 recipes on your head? Drinks can have 30% sugar, 70% ice. That's a different kind of tea now. So you need to remember all this. So how do we overcome all these challenges? Especially we are growing a lot now in the Western world, where labors are extremely expensive. Turnover is very high. You can't hire one guy and expect to train him for a month and then he left. So those are the things that I can go later deeper how we do that. We spend on technology, and then you have social media, right? And just now you pointed out the difference between license and franchise. My thought is this. Actually, when I first joined the company, I kind of think that Gong Cha is like a license, more like a license. We give you the brands, we give you the rights, and then you start operating it, and then you just continue to buy the raw material from us. There wasn't much of an engagement with our franchise growth and everything. Now, because of my background where I came from all the American brands, so we have now actually swapped our role a little bit. Now we get a lot more involved with our franchise on growing their business. Now we're going into developments. We're more selective on location, for example. We have data to look at, okay, what kind of rent we can pay, how many cups we can sell, how many staff we need. So a lot of this part that we're playing now, we're trying to help our franchisees to try and grow their business more from the front end. So that's why we have our strategies about 2 years ago. We call it Gong Cha 2.0. Gong Cha Go, G-O. G means growth. We want to grow the business through operations. So that's where that's why we're putting a lot of emphasis on helping our franchisees to grow.
Yeah, just to add on that, right? So I stayed in Shenzhen maybe about 8 years ago for a year. And then I look at the Gong Cha, this one also Gong Cha, that one also Gong Cha. But compared to the Singapore Gong Cha, which the look is very consistent, over there, because the real estate is a lot more variant, right? It really looks very different,
Yeah.
like across the board. So you say that was the old model because you just pay me the license fee and then you can take it and run. The standardization is not as high. Is that kind of...
Well, I'm glad you brought the point up because a lot of people get confused, the China Gong Cha.
Yeah.
So the Gong Cha in China doesn't actually belong to the group. They were pretty much the old legacy franchisee when it first started early.
So when they first started, they never do properly. Then this thing
Like
just
friends, relative. Hey, I know Xiao Ming. He is a relative in China. I just take the brand and buy our product. So there wasn't a lot of this sophistication. Back those days, a lot of franchisees, not like today, they are more sophisticated where they got professionals to advise them. Example, a franchise agreement was probably 20 pages. But today it's got to be 200 pages. So it's completely different. You need to be able to protect the brand integrity, and ensuring there are certain rules that you play by. Because you got to remember, franchise of a brand is not just one country. If one country's don't do well, it affects everybody in the world. Especially today, social media is so vibrant everywhere. You get news in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's why it's very important to bring the entire community together. Like things like the guidelines, what font you should be using. Your brand background should be white color, red color.
Consistency,
you can't anyhow use a different font and it looks different. Even drinks or your product. There's mandatory product, there's optionals, and there's localizations, right? Mandatory means everywhere in the world, you get the same product. Regardless of where you go, you have the same product when you go into a Gong Cha. So a lot of things has changed now. They are very different. So managing a franchise business, I always call this as there's a science and the artistic part. The artistic part is about, the brand looks nice, the design, the menu looks fantastic. But then you have the science part, which you need to go very deep into the unit economics. You need to look at supply chain. How do you ship from Taiwan to Mongolia, for example?
Yeah, holistic part of it.
And then you have all these global compliance are changing. Plastic is becoming a more and more restriction. And, when you talk about cups, there are different types. There's silicone coating, there's plastic coating, there's water-based coating, there's double wall, triple wall. So this is the fun part about me wearing double heads. Because this is where we do a lot of work to try and impact and trying to unlock the profitability of a franchisee. Because at the end of the day, everybody's here to make money. Let's be realistic, right?
So how much does it cost to do a Gong Cha?
It depends. It depends. We have different format. Frankly, franchise, Gong Cha is not really expensive. It's and it's actually a pretty good model for a franchisee because they have different kind of revenue stream. They get revenue stream from selling raw materials, fees, and license, and all this stuff. So it's all about the business that are able to scale. I used to build Five Guys. for APAC.
Oh, you built Five Guys.
From
okay.
so it's a big difference, right? We
Yeah.
spent 15 weeks to build one store.
Yeah.
But in Gong Cha, you can build 15 stores in 1 week, exactly.
Can we give us some numbers to work with?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on how big the master license. So we typically go with a master licensee. So the master license will take a territory, for example, or country. And we usually look at how big that market can build. So we do a bit of statistic comparing to other brands, especially we take a lot of Starbucks as our kind of indications. Because in many countries, we are actually going against Starbucks in that sense. Korea, Japan, for example, we are the leading brand in bubble tea. So depending on how big the market, it can range from 25 stores to 500 stores, as big as India, for example. So smaller market, it goes anything between 100 to 200,000 master franchise fees. And then we ask for license fees around between 10 to 15,000. But there's different format. There's kiosk, there is a big format, there's a standard size. So very different. And our royalties are very low. We collect between 1 to 3%. So it's very different model and it doesn't standardize.
Of course. It's a ballpark we play with, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We always do a market entry now. So we always sit down with a franchisee, look at a business plan over 10 years now. We used to sign a 3-year kind of deal, but
Why would I sign a 3-year deal
Exactly.
with you? If you want, if
But
you
by
want
the
me to
time-
open the whole market, no way.
yeah, by the time you sign and then you start negotiating.
Yeah, I put in all the capex, end of story. By the time
Exactly.
you reap, the next franchisee reap all the benefit,
Exactly.
right?
And that's why now
Yeah.
we're now starting now to go into a 10 years deal.
Yes.
You have a long runway. You can plan more forward.
Yeah.
So a 10 years deal, 10 years development plan, and then we work out, what's the business plan.
So in a nutshell, licensing is amateur hour, and licensing is hands off, and then franchising is more hands on.
Well, I
That
don't
kind
know
of
about the
distinction.
other brands kind of licensing,
Yeah.
but I think for Gong Cha, like I said, we all started off is like, take the brand, and then buy our product, and we teach you how to do the drinks, and that's it. They don't really get involved in planning out the development, looking at, training, for example.
Yeah.
Even sometimes when we do local product developments, the franchisees develop their own, and we support from the back. But now it's very different. Now we do global kind of LTOs. So we develop a product and we plan for the entire year. So every beginning of the year, we have ideations where our major market get together, and then we invite suppliers and ourselves. We present 70 over products. And from the 70 product, we narrow it down to probably about 40. And then we narrow it down further to 20. And then we do a consumer studies across the big countries. Then we determine, these are the 4 products that will do it global. So we're 3 layer, global, regional, and local.
Interesting.
So this is why Malaysia has coffee jelly and then Singapore doesn't have.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So Justin is trying to ask for coffee jelly to come in. That's the main thing, right? Coffee jelly must
Absolutely.
come.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things about having distinct flavors in locally speaking, right? From a marketing perspective, we help automates the consumer's thinking because Gong Cha has automated my thinking so much that whenever I go JB, I only go for one flavor. I only go for the foam cap coffee,
Yep.
and I only ask for that coffee jelly topping. It's automated me so much like that. But when in Singapore, I only drink your milk tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
I also want to ask about when it comes to customization, right? Let's say when Manhattan Fish Market and Subway,
Right.
was it from a grassroots kind of level upwards or also like Gong Cha 3 layers, very sophisticated?
I want to expand that licensing discussion a little
Yes.
bit more. So
Yes,
because
yes, yes,
you
yes,
did
yes.
say licensing is not just the brand.
Yes.
There's so
yes,
many
yes,
things
yes.
involved, right? So yes.
That's right. Licensing and franchising, practically, they are quite similar. But I would say that licensing is made simple. Unlike franchising, they are more systematic. They have a whole chart of systems to actually follow. Maybe there are 10 steps, and these 10 steps are likely non-negotiable, and you have to follow. And this is part of the franchise agreement. Being licensing, you have a little bit more flexibility. Let's say Disney character. Your license could be just to create the structures that is half a meter and below. That's one license. Anything within full size, human size height will be given to another licensee. So they could actually produce the same item, but then it's of a different size.
Ah. It's very fine, huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
And if you are going to look at people that is printing the T-shirt of being Disney or being X-Men or anything, they took the license of the picture to be able to print on it. And that's all. It is always to have a number on it, to print up to how many million pieces and what kind of design. So it's very simple. It's a very simple agreement on that given pictures. So that's a license to do. Unlike a franchise, you need to commit, you need to grow the brand, you need to nurture it, you need to understand it, you need to go for training, you need to put in a lot of capex. So it is probably a lot more to work on rather than licensing. But licensing again here make easy. Also, we're able to tap into many industry. For example, the medical industry, let's say you have a formula that actually benefits a certain kind of disease, and that's able to add on to drugs that is already in the market and help the general public. So that particular company can license that formula and put them into their drugs, mix it together and sell it off and say that, oh, we have this together and it also cures certain of this and help some patients to release their pain.
Okay.
Right? So that's the part about licensing. In terms of technology, it's the same thing. If you look at our fridges, if you look at our computers, sometimes there are certain ones we are using the same thing.
Yeah.
But then you add on the extra RAM, the extra power, the extra analytics. These are the things where licensing actually plays a great role in the convenience of putting the whole holistic things together.
I know. ARM technology, right? All the silicon chip actually all designed by them. Everyone licensed from them.
Of course.
Right. So
of course,
yeah.
of
Okay,
course.
okay. Hey, can we kind of help our audience to categorize a little bit on the licensing side, right? Because
Right.
I think most people will think of it as a brand licensing side thing, right? Like on Mickey Mouse, I slap on my t-shirt, right? Then I go and sell it.
Yes.
Right? so that is the simple part that people understand. I think we can collectively call it more brand licensing, right? And then there's like the technical
In
technology
fact, it's more character licensing. in
Oh,
that sense.
character
Yeah,
licensing.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
even,
yeah.
even today, if you're famous, you
Ah.
can license your name.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. One day. You know, I should have a perfume or something. Someday. Okay, yes. Yeah. Help us understand, like negotiating a brand or a character license, something like that. How does it look like? How do I scope it? What does it take?
It all depends on what you need. If I'm in the financial world, definitely I might ask a financial coconut for a license to be able to
You see, I knew it.
expose, to share this platform. And at the same time, representing FLA, of course, I can actually bring in a lot more people within the association to talk about their brands. And that's where what makes sense, how does it help a person to go in terms of different channel of investment, in terms of building businesses. Because I think the world is changing. Second generations are getting more learned. And I think there's definitely the inheritance factor that has accumulated over the years that a lot of people are trying to get on with franchising or licensing in order to find their path on where they could grow in the future. So these are definitely roads to tap on.
Yeah. Are there certain examples in FLA, like amongst your community, that have successfully done some brand license or character license and integrate into their business?
Even today, if you are going to look at the food category, we have talks with brands like when they have a new character, they have a new show that comes, they will actually package together with the food category and then sell that character as one of the promotional
at the
items.
movie, right? Okay,
Yes. So these are definitely possible. It's always a theme that we create. Even for drinks, I'm sure they have it too. To get some character, and those are under the licensing together with the franchise brand. So we collaborated and actually make that as a promotion. So that is very good in a sense to say that when the promotions actually hit the market, it actually talk about that particular time where they really wanted to drum up the whole brand image or the whole character image.
It's a collaboration. So even franchise, we collaborate with some of the brands. Recently, we did one with Final Fantasies across the world.
Final Fantasy.
And it was a big hit in the US, and now we know that since like gaming can go very well with our drinks.
Gaming is a bigger market
Exactly.
than movie, than all those
And
things.
then
Yes.
in Australia, we do a lot of collaboration with brand release premiere, like for example, Wonkers. We do a lot of the even panda, Kung Fu Panda, where we have the black pearls and the white jellies. Then we form that, that what you call it, that chi thing,
Yeah.
So it's all about creations or creativity. It's all about leveraging on the brand power. Both brands, for example, they leverage on us, we leverage on them at the same time. But usually for those kind of collaboration, it's probably a very short-term kind of thing. But we can always come back like maybe every 6 months, a year later. We know that it gives us a lot of results on the collaborations.
So I completely get it that let's say that a movie launches and then you partner with the specific
Correct.
character to launch a merchandise. But sometimes I also see some other brands, they're just out of the blue, partner with some character. And I always wonder, what was the thinking behind, there's no launch, no movie, no game, no nothing, but why you purposely want to go and partner with that specific license? What was the thinking
I think
behind
there's some
kind?
reason particular to your brand product, right? For example, for Gong Cha, for example, our customer profile, right? Or the ladies or the kids. So Kung Fu Panda was a great collaboration because, the parents going to bring their kids. And we have stores that are nearby cinema, for example. And that helps bring in traffic to the store.
Okay. But that's like on season, right? Like when
Yeah.
there's a launch, there's something. What about off season when it's like not hot, like Sonic just walked past it and it's like Sonic is not releasing a movie, but it's a big brand.
It does.
Right? It's a big character. It taps into the childhood energy.
Correct.
The whole thing is that we grew up playing and watching Sonic,
Correct.
but they got no movie coming up.
Correct.
Then why would a brand work with them?
Well, I think again, you leverage on the brand, right? If Sony is very popular, for example, in the US. Obviously, collaborate with Sony in the US makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But maybe not here because maybe Sony is not as popular. Here, maybe we'll go with people like some more localized kind of character.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe Pokemon more Asia, Japan,
Yeah.
And we do look at that as well.
Yeah. And when I was in Xiamen, I saw Betty Boo.
Yeah.
I was like, Betty Boo 什么年代了, right? It's like, who cares about Betty Boo here?
Yeah, we still have a market that collaborates very well with Snoopy.
Yeah,
Snoopy is
right.
no longer
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
but it's very popular in Mexico, in the US, and in Australia. So we collaborate with the merchandise, for example.
Interesting. And it's always about the right price, right?
But right price is about volume as well.
Okay,
They go
okay.
by license fee, or sometimes they go by royalty, how much product you sell.
Okay.
So it's different kind of mechanics. But more importantly, you have to make sure that the brand fits with your brand as well. Yeah.
So even for franchise brand now, in this era, we need to be updated. We need to keep ourselves up to what market expectations are. So some brands, even food brands themselves, they not only do franchising, they also go into a model of licensing. What do I mean? For example, I have known of a restaurant. They take another brands like Jewel Coffee as a licensing to be their coffee brand to serve in their restaurants. They also take our gelare ice cream to put inside there during the tea break time. That was the time that they actually sell more ice cream and coffee and cakes and waffles. So those are part of the licensing within a franchise brand itself. And for a gelare that goes to a restaurant, we leave it to the restaurant to decide the pricing and the discount factor so that they can attract the best customer they want. They only take the brand itself as, I have a good product. That is what they are trying to prove to a customer, to say we have a reliable product. We are here to serve you. Tell us what you want.
It's true. And you see it in FMCG, a lot of them, right?
That's
like,
right.
Like all the Starbucks thing that you buy, it's not made by Starbucks, right? They license the whole thing to a FMCG provider and then, they go from there.
That's
right?
correct.
So I think some of these, if you're a brand owner, this is also a potential kind of like
Yeah.
pivot to a new space, right?
We did one recently in Japan. We collaborated with Kirin. So they are bottler.
Kirin, okay.
So we license our brand, and of course they will then bottle we have a milk tea and a peach oolong. So they bottle, we license the brand. Of course, we also make sure that the recipe and the product methods are standard. And then they license it, they bottle it, they distribute it across 26,000 7-Eleven in Japan. We sold close to 800,000 in 2 weeks. Bottle we sold out. So that's again, it's a brand collaboration. Sometimes we can also license our brand to another bottler. And we have people who actually approach us in the liquor industry. They want to create a alcohol that has a tea with Gong Cha. But then we kind of say, hey, hang on first.
Brand identity,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Do you want to
They
go
don't want to go to the
there?
wrong kind of
Yeah, that's
sector.
right.
It's like how after 21st Century Fox was sold to Disney, and then they didn't want to do the Genting thing, right? Because it's all the brand. You're trying to protect your brand, which is
Correct.
important as the owner, right?
Correct.
Yeah, if you let
Right,
it
right,
do its own thing, then bo liao, right? This thing gone, right?
Correct.
But so what were the along the way, right? In your experience in licensing, what were some of the common mistakes that you have seen newbies make when they try to enter the licensing space?
Yeah, whether negotiating with the brand owner or the brand owner negotiating with
Or maybe
others.
spot the wrong brand to collaborate and everything cannot make it.
Well, there's always the hit and the misses, right? So misses could be with many, many reasons. It could be right now, whether is that being inflation, war, or something that happens. But I think when everybody comes together and they hit on to sign the agreement, I think we're all in good intention to grow the business. Along the way, something goes wrong. Well, everybody got to see how to get back on track and move on. But again, here it can vary from everything from financial to the situation at that moment. So these are things that, whether is it controllable or uncontrollable, it do happen from time to time.
So simply not easy, huh?
Yeah.
It will still happen. Yeah. Maybe from a technical license standpoint, right? Because we talk about brand, right?
Right.
And actually Singapore is quite a big R&D hub, right? So
Definitely.
I do know some like D2C brands that license from like the universities, they license from some of these like pharma entities, to get their product, with that formula, which is what you said, right? What are some interesting spaces to explore, like for Singapore businesses, because we have all this R&D, right? Yeah, so we spend so much money on R&D. Then it's either you take the product and you productize it and go out on your own brand, or you can license that technology to someone else, right? So like, what is the opportunity there? Do you see some stuff going on that Singapore entrepreneurs can think of?
I think Singapore, definitely one of Singapore's success factor is how do we actually go deep into our legal system, our IP framework. When we get ourselves to a certain level and being trusted in the region, this is where when we talk about licensing, we talk about all this structural infrastructure, these committed agreements, orders. This is where we are very strong in. We are also the arbitration center of Asia. We like to use our strength in order to cultivate.
We quarrel a lot, that's why I can arbitrage.
Not really, but I think one of the things is that in our trade pact, in our agreement, we are very detailed. We are able to dive on the deeper ground and look at more details and develop strategy to say what if it happens. So this helps to actually migrate the uncertainty and minimize the risk in any form. So in terms of any licensing and franchising, if we are going to use our structure right here, it is more accepted within the region, which is being shared around, and all the region has actually agreed to say that this is a good format. This is one of our strengths. We should make use of this. So we encourage international company to come here, look at our structure, how we structure this to actually grow around the region. This is why a lot of company, like what Danny did, is he represent the Asia Pacific because he can rely on some of the structure here in terms of legality, IP framework, all this in order to work in the region.
Fair.
So are there any, because Singapore then government support very important, right? So are there any preferred schemes or the usual go-to schemes you go to when it comes to talking to, let's say, ESG, EDB, in getting business in and then also Singapore business out in terms of franchising or licensing?
Yes, I will just say that come to FLA website. Yes. Thank you for the opportunity.
Very smooth, very good. Go.
Just step on us. This is why we are here. We are here to harmonize this framework. We have diagnostic, how to start a business. We have the legality part of it if you wanted to grow in the region. Because we also understand to say that Singapore being a smaller market, sometimes we think small, going to a big country is a different mindset. And having some bigger company coming to Singapore, they think very big. They think that we are as big as Wow, some other countries,
They
you know.
think Singapore a lot of money, right? So yeah.
Sometimes they say, "Can I build 100 outlet here?" I
So,
say,
you're
I
tapped
say-
at 20.
I say, well, you can really try.
I think for my case, like I said, franchising is no longer the same 35 years ago.
Yeah.
You need to consider a lot of factors.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they wanted to venture into franchise business, they tend to look at the brand itself. Oh, I like it. It tastes good. But that's the biggest mistake. You need to know what you're getting yourself into.
What's my ROI?
You need to know what you're paying for.
What's my cap? Yes.
You know, you need to even dig deeper. Go and meet the leadership team. Are they real genuine people? Are they really the people who are there that can help you grow the business? You know, it's not all about dollar and cents in the past. You need to do deeper into what are the restriction and compliance, for example. What are your challenges and what are the pitfalls? So every market is different. For Gong Cha approaches, it's like we recently signed probably about 6-7 new countries, and we got another 16 more to go.
Yeah.
And it's no longer in the past. Oh, you like the brand? Right, sign the deal, pay me the money, you're done. No. Today we take a little bit more, a lot more steps.
Yeah.
We do supply chain scoping. We need to understand, okay, if we were to export tea into your market, for example, what kind of tariff, what kind of compliance, even to the point where what does the HS code look like? Because the wrong HS code could mean you're paying extra tax. So things like this, that we're doing a lot of work. We study your footprint. We've got 3 formats. All right, we should open 5 big format flagship. And then we're going to do about 20 to 30% of standards. And then there's an opportunity for us to do non-traditional kiosks in airports and railway stations. So all this needs to be carefully planned out for the next 10 years. What kind of investment you're going to put in? How much money you're going to put in the first 5 years? What is your return going to see? How much labor and all this stuff. So there's a lot of things that goes into getting a franchise. It's like a courtship. Today, when we sign a franchise, it takes us
That's
a year.
easier. In fact, that's easier.
It takes us a year. It sometimes takes us a year to even get to the final point of signing off the document.
It's grueling. It's
Do you
grueling.
personally interview potential franchisees?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the business side of things, right? The more personal qualities that you look
Correct.
out for. What do you look out for?
I think those are actually the most important. It's like I was just telling Albert recently, a franchise is like a marriage. You want to find the right partners.
Yeah.
If you don't find the right partners, you're always non-trusting, always second guess, always quarrel. Your marriage is going to be very miserable. So franchising is all about compromise as well. We understand the challenges. How can we help you? Maybe we can waive
Communications,
fees.
yes.
We can give you some incentive, that kind of thing. So we can direct, maybe help you look at other stuff. So for us, Gong Cha, I think whenever we receive an inquiry, we first do a bit of background, who they are. And then I usually get on the first call. We don't really talk about business. It's kind of, hey, how are you? What do you do? Why do you want to choose Gong Cha? That kind of thing. And then after we sign NDA, then we go into deeper stuff. Right. Recently, I talked to some franchisees. They grew the business single-handedly. So they've gone through COVID. They've gone through brands that up and down. So they understand all the challenges and all the pitfalls. So they have gone through it. So those people who have experienced this kind of journey, it's easy for us because you're, after all, also starting a new business. And there are a lot of things that you might not know. As much as you could plan and forecast initially, you will never be 100% accurate.
Fair. So I'm a good franchisee lah.
Absolutely. Anytime, my friend.
Okay. Great. So how very inspired. I think a lot of the Block 71 guys can start to look at some of these. That opens up the mind.
I think one of the things that we always try to encourage founders is, so within the founder community, the startup community, founders talk to founders. But one of the things that maybe in Singapore or really in Southeast Asia is more like how we can encourage founders to speak to big corporations, established corporations like Gong Cha, or like Manhattan Fish Market or Subway, to try to understand within a corporation how a business is run. Because eventually that's where they want to be. Otherwise, what you start a startup for lah. But of course, there are some people who start a startup to sell. But I don't think that's the predominant appetite. Most people want to look for the long run.
No, but sometimes because the brand have the advantage of coming to Singapore first, and they are probably the first one to really make it happen and rah-rah around. So this is why a lot of people find that it's very near to our heart, our growing time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
sure
Thank you
we
so
have so
much.
much more.
Yeah,
If our
so
audience
much,
like
yeah.
to connect, is LinkedIn a good place? Right? I think
Absolutely,
LinkedIn is a good
absolutely.
place to connect. So with that, that's the end of the licensing panel. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.